This story has nothing to do with football, nothing, and everything to do with leverage. But I'm going to disguise it as a football story. So you probably kept up with this. If you haven't, if football's not your thing, it's all right, because this really has nothing to do with the actual game of football. This is about being in a specific position in life. So Heavy Sports, their reporters, Tony Grossi and Ian O'Connor, that's NFL insiders, that's what they do. They talk about the NFL. John Harbaugh, if you don't know, was fired from a 20-year coaching tenure at the Baltimore Ravens. And it wasn't not because he didn't perform. He's the winningest coach in Ravens history. Won the Super Bowl in 2012, 193 total wins, 6 AFC North titles, and the 2019 Coach of the Year, according to the Associated Press. This is not a clean out your desk situation. This is just a franchise breakup. I'm not even sure there's hard feelings here. However, when you turn a 20-year team vet that is a legit coach loose in the NFL, that's like throwing chum in the water. Every team wants a piece of this because he's an incredible coach, and he's a coach that you can build a program around, and players want to come out of college and walk into that kind of program, a program anchored by an incredible coach. They basically want to walk into every situation in the NFL except Dallas. Harbaugh is out. Everyone wants a piece, but he says, here's what I'm telling you, it has nothing to do with football. Everyone wants to hire this man for a job, but he says, you know what? That's not going to happen. I'm going to talk to 4 teams, maybe 5. In fact, I'll tell you the ones that I'm willing to talk to. Now, imagine you looking for a job. Everyone's calling you, and you're like, no, I'm only going to work for this handful of people. Does that happen to you? Because if it is, you've done a lot of things right. That doesn't usually happen to me. So Harbaugh says, I'm willing to talk to the Giants, the Dolphins, the Falcons, the Browns. A distant fourth, he says. He tells you up front, Cleveland, y'all suck. I'll talk to you if I have to, but I'm probably not going to. Now, you see what I'm saying? Has nothing to do with football. This is a heck of a position to be in. The world wants to hire you. I mean, there's a couple of teams that don't need him, but still, you get my point. There's 32 teams. I'll guarantee you right this minute that 28 of them at this very moment has tried to figure out, 28 different owners and general managers try to figure out, how can we use him? Do we need him? Is he worth replacing the person we have? Because if you think otherwise, you're wrong. The only one that hasn't looked at this like it's real is Dallas, of course, because, Jerry Jones, we're not going to get him in Dallas. And quite frankly, why would we want him in Dallas? Why would he want to go to Dallas? He's not stupid enough to go to Dallas because he's not going to wind up being a puppet for Jerry Jones. That's not happening. So he's smarter than that. Ian O'Connor says he'd bet, he's one of the guys that does this for a living. He's a talking head. He says, I'd bet $20 today Harbaugh would be the Giants' next head coach, and that should be done by next week. He says, in a credibility flex, I've been doing this for 40 years, so clearly he must be right. I don't know, but I think he might be onto something here. Again, let's talk about how this relates to us. We got a guy that everyone wants, and he's saying, I'm only going to talk to these people. And he tells them up front, he says, I'm going to need $20 million a year. I'll need $10 million in my assistant coach budget. I'll need complete and total authority over the roster. And I'm also going to make my decision for who's going to be my GM. So he's not only controlling everything, but he's also willing to make his own hire for who's going to be his boss. What you talking about? Can you imagine saying that in an interview? Like I said, it's not a story about football. It's about how differently powerful people approach interviews. It's a completely different thing, because when I go to the job interview, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to put on my best spiffy duds. I'm going to show up early. I'm going to Google things like, is it okay to ask about salary? I'm going to get the best version of me. Then I'm going to walk into the interview and I'm going to parade this junk around like it is brand new, like it's a new Mercedes fresh off the lot. When they ask me stupid questions like, What do you think, bud, your biggest weakness is? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do exactly what you do. I'm going to get a tear in my eye and I'm going to go, I care too much. I'm going to cry a little bit. You hear it in my voice. Yeah, it works every time. I'm telling you, you got to cry a little bit at least once in the interview. That's how you get your job. And when salary comes up, what are you going to say? Well, according to Google, you got to say, I'm flexible. And then, what you're really saying is, please don't rescind this offer. That's a normal interview for a brother like me. That's how it's going to go. Walks in and starts the interview with, before we start, I run everything. I need $20 million a year. You see the difference in these two interviews? They're not the same. He said, I need $10 million for my friends. I decide who plays, and I also choose the guy who decides who plays. You see what I mean? It's not an interview. This is more like a corporate merger. It's different when he walks in. He's not applying for a job. He's auditioning the organization. They're sitting there like, so do we work for you now? And to be fair, he has kind of earned that. Results by leverage, winning buys confidence, and Super Bowls by commas. Not real hard to argue that. Some people are interviewing hoping to be hired. Some decide whether to accept your franchise. That's not confidence, that's market value. He's got it. Same job market, same word interview. Two completely different results, right? So a story about leverage also got me thinking about another industry where people are realizing, wait a minute, they finally have some. I don't know if you look at the Wall Street Journal. I'm one of those guys because I do this. This is one of the reasons I force myself to do this every day. I go through all of the information that's going on. I did this in radio and television my whole life, and I kind of stopped, and I feel unplugged with the world. So this is what I'm doing. I'm forcing myself to be up to date on basically everything. So I'm looking at the Wall Street Journal, and maybe not, I don't ever talk about the things that, we're taking over this, or this is happening, or ICE, or any of those big topics. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for things that entertain me to talk about. Hopefully they'll entertain you. They may not. Wall Street Journal yesterday, I didn't read all of this article, so I'm going to paraphrase some of it. I'm going to read some of it that I wrote down as a note. They talked about how pizza had finally met the end, and it was now on the decline, which has apparently never happened before. We've officially hit what they call peak pizza. Okay, if you may have noticed this. Pizza restaurants declining, chains struggling, some filing for bankruptcy, and Mexican restaurants have officially passed pizza for number one. Think about that for a minute. I'm going to go ahead and say this up front. Pizza is not declining because Americans stopped loving pizza. Pizza is declining because chain pizza is really bad. Period. You screwed your own pooch. We had a good deal going. You made pizza, you overcharged, but you had some specials, so I took advantage of it. In fact, in the 80s, you trained me because I called you and I would go, hi, and I'd go, hey, what are your specials right now? And then you would tell me. Then the internet showed up, and all of a sudden, now I'm good to go. I can just figure it out myself, and that's fine. And then you just stop. Lately, you don't even cook a pizza. You don't get them finished. You give me dough with confidence issues. The last pizza I ordered was in November from a chain, and it was undercooked so bad it was still optimistic. I called and said, hey, this stuff is mostly still alive. It's running. The lady said to me, yeah, and for $3.50 extra, we can cook that for you. What? $3.50. Yes, that's what we call well done. You don't want it running, and that's $3.50 extra. No, it isn't. No. You cannot charge me extra to complete the job you were already paid for. That's silly. That would be like a pilot going, we can land the plane, but if you want the wheels involved, well, that's an upgrade. I'm going to at least $1.50 extra from each one of you. Cash, we'll take $100. No one would say that, right? Because it doesn't make sense. You're telling me you want $3.50 extra to cook it? Well, that's well done, sir. No. So, tell you what I did. I went one further and I called the ownership, which then sent me to Papa John. So I said, why not? So I called them. And the woman said directly to me, no, sir, if you want that to stop running in the middle, that's called well done, and you're going to need to pay extra for that. I was like, ma'am, you'll never get another dollar out of me as long as I live. That's the silliest thing I've ever heard. Now, if you're lucky enough to live somewhere like a Tulsa where you have Andolini's, one of the top 100 pizza locations in the world, like, that's something to talk about right there. Always making it in the top 10, top 12 of the U.S. It's an amazing place. Or we have a place called Vanetti's over here. Really good, New York style, just really good pizza. He don't charge me extra to cook it. That's not part of the deal. I've never been charged extra, or I don't know that I've ever been as insulted to think my intelligence is so low that you can say to me, for $3.50 extra, we'll cook it so that it's not running. Ma'am, you are clearly 2 tacos short of a combination platter. I'm going to have to end this conversation before I say something I'm going to regret. Chain pizza, I'm going to be honest, there's only so much disappointment that I can take before I have to move on emotionally. I had 2 ex-wives tell me the same thing. So I know what it's like. We're in a breakup period right now because you've decided stupidness. And you're not the only one. Listen, I'm not picking on them. When you're on television telling me that you know your sauce has sucked for 20 years and people have told you, so you finally changed it, I can't look at you like you're a real company anymore. I'm not going to participate in that silliness. You know it's been a problem and you should have fixed it. I love the roof. I get it. But what's happened to you? Like, you don't want to play anymore either. Your prices are insane and your quality is to the point I don't want to feed this. I don't want to eat it. And I certainly don't want people to come to my house and eat it because it's embarrassing. And I would have said I wouldn't feed my family with it, but I don't have a family. So there ain't no reason to start digging. Let me tell you what else has happened. In this process, we didn't just quit going to dinner. No, sir. We just left pizza and went straight to Mexican food. That's right. So now you can blame the Mexicans. Tell you something, I respect the Mexican restaurants. They have been running the greatest efficiency scam in food history. They have 3 things to work with. They have tortillas, beans, and a protein. That's it. Everything else is just aggressive toppings. That's all they got. Somehow the Mexicans turned that in their restaurants into 47 different menu items. How do you do that? And go ahead and ask your waiter, excuse me, sir, what's the difference between a burrito and a chimichanga? What do you think he's going to say? He's going to say, different folding strategy? That's all they got here. That's it. New name? Call it something different? Of course I'm going to try it because I haven't tried it yet. I want to know. What's the difference between a taco and a flauta? Well, you opened one, left it flat. Okay, I get it. See, we're just playing with the same stuff. The overhead is so low, the cook is basically a magician. Pizza? Pizza got to deal with flour, sauce, cheese toppings, ovens, boxes, drivers, apps, wars with other chains. Mexican restaurants are like, we wrapped it again. Everything's fine. Everything's okay. Just fold it differently. I'm in. Wall Street Journal says pizza chains are in price wars, closing locations, rethinking strategies, and wait for it, recalibrating ovens, which is what I just talked about. Papa John's admitted some franchises were cooking pizzas at different temperatures. So you've excused it at the corporate level? Listen, I wanted a pizza. I did not want to play thermostat roulette. What are we doing? We still eat a ton of pizza. The Journal says 1 in 10 of us have pizza on any given day. Problem is, for you, we're choosier. We've got options, delivery apps, better food, and frankly, more dignity. Pizza used to be automatic. Now it's a gamble. That's why pizza isn't dead yet, but it's being judged. It's your own fault. Until these chains remember how ovens work, I'm going to be over here eating Mexican food, wondering how they made the same 3 ingredients feel new. You know what? We can all learn a lot from the Mexicans in that regard, can't we? They don't get divorced much either. Which brings me to the place where I live, where nothing is designed to move quickly. Fact, I live in a 55-plus old folks community called Sun Life because sunsetting on life was obviously taken. It's one of those Cal-Am resorts, and if you don't know anything about what Cal-Am does, this is not a thing that's East Coast. Even in the Midwest, I don't know. There's someone in Florida for sure, I'm guessing. But what happens out here is, the way I see it, and I could be wrong, this is kind of the life I'm living, the rent out here is expensive. Like, it's ridiculously expensive, needlessly expensive out here. But if you're 55 plus, you can move into neighborhoods and pay far less money. That's nice. So in this case, you can buy a trailer for, let's say, 4 to 5 times what it's worth. And then you can pay them $1,000 a month for the privilege of having a pool and having a restaurant. Now, the bigger places, bigger neighborhoods like this that'll have 1,800 units or so, they'll have a restaurant, they'll have multiple pools, bands playing most of the day during the season. It truly is living on a cruise ship. It's the exact same feel. I can have food brought to me. I can go pick it up. The difference is the cruise ship is ran by senior citizens. That's the only difference. So you don't get things done fast, and sometimes they're going to say something that's completely out of the norm. So the other day, I ordered something because they figured out that if we order things on apps, then we don't have as many blunders, and I can see that in a community like this one. So now they make you order it on the app. So I ordered it on the app, and the app said I need to go pick it up by 5:45. And I said, okay, great. I'll just walk over there and pick it up. It's at the pool. I'll leave here probably at 5:30. So I left 5:30. I got over there at 5:35 or something, and I walked up to the counter. I was standing by the counter, and she says, can I help you? Now, keep in mind, it's a senior citizens community. I said, yes, ma'am, I made an order just a few minutes ago, and I was here to pick it up, but it might not be ready yet. She said, no, it's not ready yet. And the other lady was sitting there, and I looked at her. I said, oh, I thought I might be early. I knew I came a little early. She looked at me dead in the face, and she said, yes, you did. Like I committed a sin, lady. It's a pool where you're serving liquor. I mean, she looked at me like I did something wrong. It was rough, but I'm telling you. But they're real nice over there, really. And the food is phenomenally good in this weird sort of way. I don't quite understand it, but it's really, really good. You get all the amenities. I'm not here to sell all that, but you get all the amenities. You get to jump in the pool. You get bocce ball. You get shuffleboard. Really nice billiards tables here, if that's something you're into. You can play pickleball. We have like 7 courts in my place. And my place is small. The bigger ones will have 13 to 15. Each of these units will field a softball team, and they'll play the other units like these that'll field softball teams. And some of them are so big to have 2 or 3. There'll be fields. And then what happens is all of the adults get to do the cookouts like we did for our kids, right? But we do them for ourselves and, our husbands and wives and all of that. And so everybody's playing and everybody's the same age. So it's not like anybody's getting particularly beat up on. Now, the pickleball can get real competitive in one of these neighborhoods. Don't jump in here and think just because you got OEM hips like me, you're just going to be the king of the court, because you're not. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, they are bionic and genetically rebuilt. They are here to do things with a pickleball paddle that you've never seen. I swear some of them can spin all the way around backwards. I've never seen anything like it. And then you got to go through a test about who they'll let you play. It's based on your backhand. If your backhand's too fast, well, you can't play with a select group of them. See, that's how they get you into the bionic level. I've seen it play out. It's a 55-plus community where everyone understands the rules, except the people who make them. Normal people. Now, I'm not talking octogenarians like us. I'm talking about people who live in this 2-mile square. Now, they built this city much like the city of Tulsa. It's built in square miles. So everything's a mile, right? Down this street, 1 block is a mile. Go left, 1 block is a mile. So it's easy to figure out where you're at, right? In this 2-mile loop, there are 10 to 15 of these neighborhoods. So the people that aren't in this neighborhood know better than to be in the inside lane, because that's the slow lane and that's where the elders are thinking. So you don't want to be over there. If you want to get anywhere, you take the outside lane and you quietly pass like you're sneaking around a sleeping animal, because you don't want them to look over there. Nobody's taught me this. It's just basic survival for being out here. And it's not a problem. It's okay. Everyone knows. Let them drive. They'll weave a little bit. They'll sort of swerve a lot. And it's not because they're on their phones. It's because they don't know any better. And it's okay. It's all right. And they're almost all driving something obnoxiously big, because when they come down from Wisconsin, they have a dually truck. And there's a lady in there that has no business driving a dually truck. And she is in 14 lanes. It's fun. It's a good time, but we know how it works. So the folks who run the place decided we needed speed bumps to stop people from driving too quickly here at Sunsetting on Life. Bro, nobody's speeding? People won't even do the speed limit on the main road. What makes you think they're going to start breaking speed limits inside a gated retirement maze? It's not happening. This is the only neighborhood where speed bumps feel aspirational. Let's not kid ourselves. One day, maybe, at our age, we're going to need speed bumps again. We ain't going to need speed bumps. We need encouragement. And let me tell you the hell of it. They put speed bumps on the way out. Why on earth are you slowing people down when they're trying to leave? What do you care how fast they go on the other side of the neighborhood? They built almost an entire square in speed bumps. We hire in a grandma and grandpa to ride, to lean over us, lead us, if you will. So grandma and grandpa have a checkbook that's full of other grandma and grandpa's money, and they can't spend it fast enough. Like I said, we've almost got a complete square in speed bumps. Before long, somebody's going to realize, you know what, there's 2 more roads there. We should definitely get speed bumps on them. And as soon as they do, I'm going to post the picture. Whew, that was a live report from the slowest 2 miles in the state of Arizona. The speed bump isn't slowing anyone down. It's put there just so that it feels useful. Yeah.